Welcome to the real life show, Living with a Chronic Illness. We are your hosts, Cassie and Chelsea. I'm Cassie, a single mom living with a chronic illness who is extremely passionate about living a full and happy life.
And I'm Chelsea, a mindset coach that has a passion for helping people learn to put themselves first and be the best version of themselves each and every day.
We came together to create Spoonies Unite, an uplifting community that offers resources, guidance, and support so you can live your best life while giving you the space to be yourself, be heard, and feel understood. We hope that by providing education from experts, we help Spoonies and their loved ones thrive.
This show is not only for those who live with a chronic illness, but their friends, family, spouses, and just anyone else existing on the earth. Our goal is to normalizing having a chronic illness by sharing the real stories with real people and show the world how relatable those everyday struggles can be. There's a little something in here for everyone.
And of course, thank you to our patrons for your continued support making this possible. If you love our show and want to get some extra goodies, go to patreon.com/TheRealSpooniesUnite. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the real life show, Living with a Chronic Illness. Today, Cassie and I are just chatting amongst the two of us, and we're talking about grind culture, hustle culture, be busy culture, do all the things culture that our society kind of
Sleep
has.
when you die culture.
Yeah, live when you die. God, I hate that one. I can sleep when I'm dead. No, I would like to sleep right now. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So this is something that is near and dear to our hearts. This is something that I personally struggle with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it's really funny that we're recording this episode today because I have a story that I will share in a moment that happened earlier today. And it's kind of thanks to Cassie that happened. But anyways, and the way this culture portrays us in our society as a whole, it puts a lot of pressure on everyone to do all the things and work really, really hard. But then when you have a chronic illness and you have maybe a little bit more limited energy than you would if you're a quote unquote normal person. No one's normal. We all have limited energy. But it makes things a lot harder when you're like, I can only give so much because that society is like, no, you have to do all the things. So yeah, is there anything you want to say, Cassie, before we just dive right in and I tell my story?
Oh my God. Well, I think I would just say, firstly, if you are someone listening who has a chronic illness, or limited amounts of energy for whatever reason, I don't know, you really need to think about this whole grind culture thing. And I am kind of guilty of it too. I don't think I'm quite as bad as Chelsea about it, but I do definitely try to do all the things. And I do feel like my sister-in-law, whose name is also Cassie, is kind of like one of the people who's like, stop doing all the things. You're trying to do all the things. And then she's sort of like my little devil's advocate where I'm like, oh shit, am I doing all the things? But I'm not quite as bad as Chelsea about it, mostly because my body will shut me down when I am doing all the things. So this is a good topic to talk about. And yeah, Chelsea, tell us, you go.
So basically, y'all, if you don't know me very well, I like to do a lot. I am kind of a workaholic in some ways. Part of that is because I absolutely love what I do. And so when you love what you do, it becomes really fun. I enjoy getting on and recording podcasts. I like being on social media, interacting with all of you. I love all that stuff. But I do tend to keep myself busy. When I was in college, I had multiple jobs. When I was in grad school, I had 5 different jobs while being a full-time grad student. And even now that I'm done with school, Cassie and I have this business, I have my own business, and I teach Pilates, help run that studio, and I teach bar. I have a very full schedule. I mean, I pride myself in my time management skills, but I am kind of someone where it's like, oh, I have 30 minutes, what can I get done? That's my first thought is, okay, 30 minutes are here, what can I get accomplished in this 30 minutes? Instead of, oh, I have 30 minutes, let me just rest. Can I just sit here for 30 minutes? And so it's something I've been working a lot on of placing boundaries, and I'm only going to do so much. I'm only working so much. Oh, so many things I can put on my to-do list in a day. And then allowing myself to rest more and working through the mindset stuff. And honestly, that mindset of you have to do more, you have to do more, you have to do more is what I've coached myself through, still coach myself through, and I like to coach others through, because it is a mindset drama thing. But it's interesting because so my story is there's this bodywork individual who is amazing. Cassie goes to her, and then she was like, Chelsea, you have to try it. And so I did. And I actually had my first session with her the day that we're recording this. And she's incredible. She does so it's physical body work, but it's also very like energetic body work. And so she's doing her thing.
She kind of calls it like intuitive body work.
Yes. That I was wondering how to like describe it. So
yeah, that's sort of how she like, shout out to Brenda. She's also a trained acupuncturist, and she does a lot of lymphatic drainage, lymphatic massage. Like she actually is trained in craniosacral. Like she does a lot of different stuff, but all of that has ended up kind of where now she what she calls is more intuitive body work. So she really doesn't just stick to one of those things. She does to you what she's called to, what your body is telling her, essentially. It's crazy, amazing shit. Okay,
yes.
keep going.
So this is, I want to make sure that people know this is the first time I've met Brenda. I don't know how much Cassie had told Brenda about me, probably just that we were working on this project together, this business.
Yes.
And so she knows nothing about me as a person or how, like literally nothing. I didn't tell her anything about that I do. She knows that I taught Pilates, but that was pretty much it.
And I didn't tell her stuff either.
Yeah. So she doesn't know anything about me. She's working on me, and she gets this spot in my like mid back. It's kind of a little bit below my shoulder blades, but also kind of a little bit lower. And she was like, oh, this is tight. Like this is okay. And I was like, yeah, like I've had issues with that spot off and on for kind of as long as I can remember. Like it's pretty common for that spot in my back to get tight on me. She's like, okay, interesting. And she's like, what muscle is it? And I'm like, I don't know. People told me different things throughout my life, and I've gotten massages or had like other instructors or trainers look at it. They're like, oh, it's this or this. And anyways, she was like, well, when I put my hand on it, like the message I get is that there's this generational pattern in your family of basically, how did she describe it? I sent it to you in a text message, Cassie, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to read it because I can't remember. Where's that message? Man, we text a lot.
I know. Whenever I'm like looking for something.
That wasn't that long ago. I'm like, oh shit.
Unless I'm like, okay, yeah, I have to always scroll back because we do text a lot.
Okay. She described it as like as a generational pattern of like back-breaking, push through work ethic. And she said that to me. Again, this woman knows nothing about me or my family. And I was just like, well, that's accurate. Because like thinking about like my parents are very hard workers. My grandparents on both sides are very hard workers. Like my family is very much like, I'm going to get this done. My dad especially is like, I'm putting my head down. I'm going to fucking do it. That's kind of the culture that I've grown up in. And not that my family just works all the time. Like they definitely are good about taking breaks and all that stuff. But I just like, as soon as she said that, I was like, this makes complete sense to me. And I literally almost kind of like started crying, like the laugh crying tears. Cause I was like, of fucking course it's a generational thing. Of course it is. And so it was just so interesting to like have someone that doesn't know me at all tell me that that's something that I have a pattern in, and something that like my entire, like going back generations. Like I even asked her, I was like, is it more paternal or maternal? And she was like, both. She's like, all I'm seeing, and she kind of like drew this like big ass triangle with her hands. Like it just starts with you and just goes out. And I was like, okay, cool. So that just kind of told me how ingrained that pattern was. And it's something that I know that I experience a lot in my daily life of that kind of, I have to do more. I have to do more. I have to do more. I've done a lot of mindset work on trying to switch that thought to like, my worth is not attached to how much I do. And
that's a big one.
Yeah. And it's been kind of fun as Cassie and I, this business that we've been creating is kind of grown, and we're realizing that it might be nice to have other people help us do certain things. Like as we're recording, we're in the process of looking to hire some help, some part-time help, just to kind of do a few things for us so we can focus on what we really want to do to help this business grow, this podcast
because we're
grow.
both guilty of like doing all the things. We'll just do all the things.
Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting,
And
just
work
kind of that
16 hours.
Yes, it's like, how many hours can I work? And I totally get that there's seasons where you have to maybe put in a little bit more effort, but being really, really aware that that's a season, it should be a short-term period of time, not a long-term pattern. I mean, I think that that's hard because if you kind of look at society, especially American culture, I think Americans are the worst at this. I think other countries look at us and they're like, you work how many hours a week? Like working 80 hours a week in America, I feel like is a badge of honor that we're like, I work 80 hours a week. And you're like, good fucking congratulations. What else do you do with your life? You must just work all the time, 24/7, 7 days a week and never take a day off. But in other countries, I feel like they much more prioritize taking time for yourself, taking time to be with family, to be with friends, to relax and just to be, and not try to just do more and accomplish more and just and measure worth that way. And so I think it's really wearing on anyone and everyone. But I think when you are living in that culture and you have a chronic illness, it just makes it harder because, and maybe Cassie, you kind of can speak a little bit more, but I know like there was a time back in, we're recording this the end of August, back in July, and I talked about this on the 21-day Mastering Energy Management series that we did, but I burned myself the fuck out. Like it was bad. There was about a week towards the beginning of middle of July, where I was so tired that I literally had to just I couldn't do anything. And I had a moment because so many times that we talk to people about their chronic illness stories of like what kind of triggered it, and it's a lot like it's stressful situations, it's all these things, and I had a moment of like, holy crap, like did I finally push myself too far? Did I finally push myself over the cliff, and is this the beginning of something really like not good? Not that being diagnosed with a chronic illness is the worst thing that can happen to you. I know if that happened to me, I mean, it's a challenge, but like it would not be the end of the world.
No, it's okay. It's also, I think it's also okay to kind of be like I also lately am really feeling something about this like toxic positivity. I think it's also okay to say like one would be scared to get a diagnosis and it sucks to get one, and there's a grieving process that goes with it. So I think it's totally fair and like a no judgment thing for you to be like, oh fuck, did I do this? Like what's going to happen now? Have I just like pushed myself too far? I mean, particularly when you're like spending a lot of your life talking to people who are like, hey, I pushed myself too far, and then, oh shit, I have Hashimoto's, or something.
Like, that could be, and I have lots of moments like reading, we talk about this all the time, but Sarah's book, I reading that, I was like, holy shit, like I could be one traumatic experience away from living this exact same life.
Yeah.
And so it is something that's scary to think about, since I do hear so many stories, and it's not the end of the world, but I mean, it is scary. And so I was a little worried for like a little bit, but then because I was forced to, took time to relax, I rested, and I felt better, but I still was in a funk for a solid month and a half, where I didn't want to do anything. I was kind of going through the motions. I felt really overwhelmed. I like didn't really want to talk to anyone. I just was kind of like, meh. And I think it was a combination of a lot of stuff going on at once, plus the fact that like it had been 4 or 5 months or however many, what is time anymore, but it had been quite a bit of time since COVID had really escalated. And I don't think that I had really given enough credit to the low to moderate to high level of stress that I was experiencing on a daily basis because of that, for various reasons. Just like with uncertainty, not knowing if in a month our studio will get shut down again and I'll be teaching in my office, which I really don't want to do, but will if I have to. So I think a lot of that built up with everything that was going on in my life. And I was also, I think, unfortunate because at the same time, my fiance was really, really stressed. And so when normally one of us is stressed and then the other one's not, so we can lean on each other and we can help. But when we were both stressed, we couldn't help each other. And so then that led to it was a fight, but I don't want to say it was like a fight at each other, because in the end we actually weren't mad at each other. We were just taking out our frustrations and anger on life on each other. And so then that was just kind of like another like kink in the world. And then finally I was able to actually take a break, and I set boundaries, and I did what I needed to for me, which looked like a lot of reading by myself. And I once again reminded myself that even though I'm very extroverted for what I do in my life, at my core, I'm an introvert. And maybe some of you listening will kind of resonate with that. So like growing up, I was very introverted. I was very shy. I was very quiet. But then because I'm a fitness instructor and a Pilates instructor, and I show my life on the internet and on podcasts, I show up very extroverted a lot. And so I was like, well, maybe I'm just an extrovert now. Like, this is fun. I'm an extrovert. And then I was like, no, like the thing that recharges me the most is sitting by myself reading a book. Pardon the interruption, but Cassie and I want to make sure that you know about this amazing resource that we are so excited to be able to offer you guys. We put our heads together, and Cassie and I created our Mastering Energy Management Workbook. It is a 21-day workbook designed to get you in touch with your energy, what you really want in your life, and then give you tools to actually make that freaking happen. Cassie and I have gone through this process ourselves multiple times, and each time we learn something new and we get a little bit more in touch with ourselves and our energy levels. You can find our workbook on Amazon for either a Kindle copy or a paperback copy, and the link will be in the show notes. We also have 21 days of podcasts going through each day of the workbook. So if you want to get an idea of what we're talking about, make sure to check those out on our podcast. Now back to the show.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. Like, what recharges you, is like what it's about, and with the when you're sorting out extrovertedness or introvertedness, like it is about what recharges you. And with grind culture, and especially being an instructor, like I totally know how that goes, because I've always been an extrovert, and everyone's always like, you're super extroverted, I'm so outgoing. And sometimes I am recharged by other people, and teaching especially, like there's times that it freaking pumps you up and it gives you all the energy to keep going.
Like, I can do anything.
Life
is amazing.
Totally. And it's amazing. But also in my core, it's like the things that really do recharge me though are being on my own. And I am more introverted in that sense. Like I kind of go both ways. And so, that's, I what's funny? Like I actually remember listening to a podcast episode from Shailene Johnson.
Yes.
What's her podcast called?
Okay, she has two.
The Shailene Show.
The Shailene Show, and then she's got Build Your Tribe.
Oh yeah. Okay,
one,
so
now I kind of think she needs to change the name.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so the Shailene Show, I think, is the one that I was listening to, and this would have been like, oh my God, this would have been like summer 2016, and I was painting houses at the time to fund my Pilates training, and I was painting exterior houses, and I particularly remember having to scrape off the old white paint on a garage, and then I was like going to repaint it, dude, whatever. But the thing I loved about it was like listening to books on tapes and podcasts. And I particularly remember her talking about like an introverted extrovert, an extroverted introvert. And
I'm pretty sure I listened to the same episode. Because
right?
I listened to the Shailene Show at about that same time.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, oh my God, is this a thing? Like you can actually be like both. And that was the first I'd heard from it. Or heard about it. So for those listening, like, that's a thing. You can be an extroverted introvert, which sounds like what you are, Chelsea, or an introverted extrovert, which maybe is a bit more like maybe what I am.
Yeah.
Or no, maybe I'm also more like you. I don't know. So for those listening, don't define yourself totally in a box. Like it's okay to do both. So yes, Chelsea, continue.
But basically, I mean, the world is go, go, go. Do all the things. I mean, there's definitely been times that I've like told people like everything I'm doing, and they're like, oh my gosh, like you're so busy, like you're doing so many things, like that's so cool. And like I do cool things, but sometimes it feels like they were saying that I was like that what I was doing was cool because I was doing so many things, not because of what they actually were. And so I think kind of thinking about not putting being busy on a pedestal. And I am completely guilty of what I'm about to say next. But a lot of times, I mean, the number one excuse I hear for kind of anything is, oh, I'm just so busy. Well, newsflash world, everyone is fucking busy in their own way. Like everyone, I don't care if you'll only work an hour a day. Like you're busy in some way. You got something else to do. You stay-at-home moms are incredibly busy people. Like even if their kids are at school or at daycare sometimes, they're still busy. Everyone is busy.
We all have shit going on, man.
But I think we can like, and again, this is the thing I'm guilty of, is I've definitely, when someone's like, oh, I'm busy, I'm like, you're busy. Let me tell you. And then I try to one up them. I really, really don't try to do this anymore. I more try to communicate if someone's like needing something from me and I'm not able to give that to them. I'm like, look, I know you think that this thing that we're talking about right now is the only thing that I do in my life, but it's not. So I can't give you what you need at this second. I could give it to you down the road, or I can't at all. And trying to kind of make that not a like, oh, I'm so busy, I can't do that. It's just like, that's not in the realm of possibility right now. And so I don't know where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought. But anyways, there's
maybe about just like dropping the judgment of like, and this is actually really pertinent to chronic illness also, is the fact that like grind culture and like defining your worth by productivity. You're right, like especially in the United States, there is a huge thing about like you should be getting up at 5 a.m. Get your workout in, be at work by 8 a.m. having done a workout, done your morning mindset work, and made yourself a healthy breakfast, and also freshly squeezed yourself a green juice, and then grab your Starbucks on the way in to your 8 a.m. job, then work all day, and then at 5 p.m., then
and not take a lunch break. Like it's
no
cool
lunch
to
break.
work at your desk during lunch.
Totes.
I'm sorry, y'all. If you were getting paid to take a damn lunch break, as someone who gets paid hourly and doesn't have built-in time off, please, for the love of all things good, take your time off.
Oh my God, seriously. Okay, and then let's not even get into the fact that like smokers get like a 15 minutes all the time for a break for their like freaking smoke break, and non-smokers don't get that extra break. Anyway, then, it's evening rolls around 5 p.m. and then you're going to like get off work and take your kids to soccer practice, magically have a delicious, healthy, nutritious meal on the table. And everybody's clothes are obviously also laundered because you've done that during the day at some point.
And the house is spotless. There's no
the house looks really good. Totes.
There's no dust anywhere.
Yes. And don't forget, it's Thursday night. So obviously like you have your girls' night. So you're fitting in wine with the girls after dinner, let's say. And then, it's really important that you do some self-care and take care of yourself. So after that, you're going to also fit in meditation for yourself, a bath.
I was going to say a bath too.
A bath, because you have to be clean. And magically, you're doing a really good job because you're going to be either in bed by 10 or it's grind culture. You can get those couple emails in at night that you haven't done. And let's say that also, you're running your side biz. And so you've got your social media work and it's midnight, but you know what? You did all the things, and 5 hours of sleep is fine because you'll sleep when you're dead. And like, let's just all say that we know that you're out there, people, okay? Because Chelsea's done it. I've done it. We've both lived these lives doing it where it's like, yeah, hell yeah. I only needed 5 hours of sleep last night, and look at all the things I accomplished and did. And and that's not to say also that like, sometimes it feels really good to be productive and do all the things. And then you're like, look at me go. I am so productive today. And it feels great. No shame in that. It's just, anyway, there's those people. This is going back to your train of thought that you lost that I'm like picking up for you now, apparently.
Thank you.
But there's those people. And then there's also the people that, it's like you have 1 or 2 hours of things to do that day. Maybe all you have to get done is the laundry. Maybe all you have to do is take the kids to school and go home. And, or you're running like a little bit of a side business. You're working part-time. You are a stay-at-home wife, or you're a stay-at-home mom, or whatever it might be, that you don't have all of those things going on you're right. You're still busy. We all have stuff going on. Maybe you are an ear on the phone to multiple people in your life who need you there. Maybe you're actually like taking care of your neighbor and doing their grocery shopping for them right now. Like maybe you're friggin' dog sitting and that's actually taking more energy than you realized it was going to be taking. Like whatever it is, we all have stuff going on. We're all busy. And I remember like in a talk you gave, and I think you've said it on this podcast, Chelsea, it's like we all have the same hours in the day as Beyonce. Like, how are you going to spend them? Yeah. And that was like super interesting because it's like, okay, wait, that's so true. Like everyone else in the world has the same hours that we have. And it is about like choosing how you want to spend your time. And when you are making those choices and decisions, don't define your worth by how much shit you're squeezing into your day. Ooh. And I also think that that's important to say, that how many things you're squeezing into your day also does not define productivity.
No.
Okay. Is that maybe where your thought was going?
I think that's where I was going. And one thing, I love that you brought up that Beyonce quote, because to me, the context of you have the same hours in a day as Beyonce does. Is Beyonce's this like really successful, badass woman. So it's like, oh, I have the same hours in my day. Like I should be able to do just as much as she does to get me there. And so also thinking about that context of just because there's 24 hours in a day doesn't mean you need to fill 24 hours of them.
Also, like, she's got a team of rock star queens.
Damn it. Yes. Can we please talk about that for a second? Yeah. Teams. And this is where I think we talked about it on another episode, but ask for fucking help.
Yeah, dude.
Don't let people guilt you into it.
It takes a village.
Ask for help. Like, ask for help. There are so many times that Cassie and I are working on something, and one of us is like, actually, I did this to you last weekend, Cassie, is I've been working on a project for our membership site, mywellnesshub.co. For those of you that don't know what it is, go check it out. Anyways, little mini ad over. I've been working on something, but I had promised my fiance that we were going to make macaroons. Like we were going to have time together. We were going to put that, like I was putting work aside. We were spending time on a Sunday doing something we wanted to do together. And so I was like, all right, Cass, I got it to here. Is there any way you can finish this last little bit for me? Yeah. And you're like, yes, of course. I'm working on some stuff now. It's perfect. I can easily get that done. So of course, there was a part of me that was like, Chelsea, just get it done, spend another 30 minutes on it, it'll be fine. But I was like, no, I worked a certain amount, like it's okay to ask for help. And it would have also been okay if Cassie had been like, no, I can't do that right now. Like that would have been okay too. And then I could have made the decision of just waiting for another day or getting it done and moving on. So ask for help. Like the people that appear like they're doing all the things, they have help. The houses that you walk into that are completely fucking spotless, they have a cleaner. I promise you.
I know, right? For real.
Promise you.
Or they're Monica from Friends.
But yes. Or they have kids that have chores that do it.
Yes. We have children so that we have slaves. But anyway, really quickly also onto that. Oh shit, I hope I'm not losing my train of thought now too. Damn it, it happened. I felt it like going away.
Just go away.
And okay. It was really important.
Well, if you think of it, you can just record a little thing later and just.
What did you just talk about? What were you just saying?
Something about cleaning, like
right before that.
I don't remember.
Fuck.
I honestly can't remember. You all listening probably think we're crazy. We're just having a very fun, passionate conversation. Anyway.
That's really funny. Literally, neither of us could remember what we were talking about 2 minutes ago. Oh, I remember. Okay, so what I was just going to say about asking for help is one thing that really helped me about asking for help was to remember that I like to help.
Yes.
So, like, I would feel really guilty about being like, hey, can you, like, okay, my mother-in-law texted me a couple weeks ago. She just moved back to Wichita, my ex-mother-in-law. She'll always be my mother-in-law, though. But she was like, hey, I made a bunch of cookies, chocolate chip cookies. Can I come and bring some to you? I made extra or whatever. And I was like, yes.
Cookies.
Are they your famous like Giardelli chocolate chip cookies that I love and always eat a million of? Please do bring them to us. And normally, one would always be like, oh, that's okay. I don't want you to drive all the way out here. thanks, no, it's fine. I'll get it from you another time or
but
whatever.
she made them because she wanted to give them to you.
Exactly. And she wanted to drive them out here to my house to deliver them. And let me tell you, she gave us, I think she gave us 10 or something. And Shannon and I each ate 4 and gave my stepdad 2. And we ate them all within like 20 minutes of her delivering them. And so anyway, that's just a little example of like, that would be me, where if I made cookies, I want to experience the joy of delivering those cookies to those who love them. I want to drop them off. It makes me feel good. So obviously my mother-in-law is the same way, and it makes her feel good. And so accept the cookies. I was like, yes, give them to me. Yum. And so just remember that when you are thinking of maybe needing to ask for help, is how much you probably like to help, actually, because most of us, and I'm sure the people that are listening to our podcast are kind of like us in that sense with the community, where we like to do nice things for each other. And so that was something that really helped me. It's like, if it were me, would I want someone to honestly tell me that they needed my help so I could go over and actually give it to them? Yes. The answer is yes. Okay, that's what I was thinking about when we both lost our train of thought.
Well, since apparently both of us are having trouble thinking straight, we probably should wrap this up.
Yeah.
But anyways, everyone, we understand that we live in a society, particularly if you are listening to this in the States. We know that there are some international listeners. You know who you are. We love you. We thank you. You're the best. But here in the States,
shout out to Sweden right now.
Yes. But here in the States, we have this very much go, 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 do all the things, being busy on a pedestal type culture, which I'm kind of hoping is shifting a little bit with everyone having to slow down a little bit more because of COVID. But just know that it's not good to do that, even if you do not have an illness, as hopefully you all heard from my story of just not having a good time for a very long period of time, and struggling for a while. But then knowing that you as yourself, if you have limited energy, honor the energy you have, honor what you can really do, and then ask for help, set boundaries, and don't feel that you need to fall into the pattern that the rest of the world around you or the country around you is kind of falling into. Like, it's okay to take rest. Like, be that example of, I know my limits, I know what I really want to do in my life, and I'm going to set a boundary. I'm not going to go past that. So that's kind of our little rant on doing all the things and kind of some of our experiences with it. We would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Send us a message on Instagram at @TheRealSpooniesUnite. You can send us an email, hello@TheRealSpooniesUnite.com, if that's kind of more your style. Otherwise, thank you for listening. You're the best. We love you all.
We really do.
We'll be back in your ears soon with our next episode.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please write us a review to help us reach more people like you.
If you'd like to connect with Cassie and I, you can find us on Instagram at @TheRealSpooniesUnite. You can also join our private Facebook community, Spoonies Unite, or you can visit our website, TheRealSpooniesUnite.com, for all sorts of resources and to stay up to date with our current projects. And don't worry, you can find all of these links in the show notes below.
Thank you to our wonderful Spoonie patrons for all your support, and you can become one too. That's right. All you have to do is go on over to patreon.com/TheRealSpooniesUnite, and you can get all sorts of extra goodies like videos of our episodes and more.
Any support is greatly appreciated. It helps enable us to create more content for all of you, as well as make this podcast sound better and better. Thanks for listening. We can't wait to be back in your ears soon.